All right, great. Well, I am here with Lisa Mensah, who runs the Oregon Community Foundation. And gosh, I was at your annual event last week.
Yeah.
It was an amazing luncheon at the Portland Art Museum and some big news items. And I don't think a lot of my audience knows about these things because OCF is still kind of this best kept secret, even though it's now, with the new news, it's a $5.5 billion foundation.
We're going to get up there. Audited returns now show us at $4.5 billion of assets under management.
But what was one of the big pieces
And one of the big pieces of news was the estate of Joe Weston, which he has now moved entirely to the OCF Joseph E. Weston Foundation.
That's amazing.
And that brings the value of that foundation to over $1 billion.
Wow.
So we have become over $5 billion overnight, and that is in deep gratitude to Joe Weston.
Yeah, who's an incredible real estate developer, blue collar, and built his whole way up.
Simple, humble roots, and never left Oregon, and just helped change our state for the better. So a lot of people who have housing because of Joe. And the amazing thing is he wants to give it all back, and he did it in his lifetime now, which is really beautiful.
So cool.
We can tell him our gratitude, and we can start to think about.
But you have your own Oregon story. We were just joking before the video started. Your sister Sarah, who runs the Jordan brand here, and you've come home.
I've come home,
and so just powerhouse sisters who grew up.
We grew up in Beaverton.
Beaverton.
We grew up right now where kind of Nike is, because both of our parents worked for Tektronix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the kid who grew up in Beaverton, and one of the things, having a house that you actually stay in until you go to college is really quite powerful. It roots you in the community. And the time Beaverton was really different. But,
your parents, did they stay here for?
They stayed, That's
incredible.
I'm a Beaverton girl that came back after many, many years away, but the chance to lead this foundation was wonderful.
That's incredible. So, for a lot of folks who don't know the second bit of news and what I'm really going to be focused on, because I think it's a huge deal, in every one of these We Believe videos that I do, I try and reiterate that all Portlanders have spoken, and like there's three top issues, at least in Portland. Homelessness, public safety is number one, number two is tax reform, and number three is innovation and economic development. And so on the number one issue, OCF is taking a big bite out of that from a solution standpoint in terms of this $100 million fund that will help to, partner. I want to hear more. It's called the Building Hope Fund. It's a $100 million fund to do 10,000 housing units.
You got my numbers.
And how does it work? Like if I'm a builder or developer, like how does it work?
Okay, so I got the joyous job of announcing last Friday, Ryan, the Building Hope Fund. Mm-hmm. And we've got a serious down payment, which is $100 million from the endowed resources of the Oregon Community Foundation. But that's the down payment.
Okay.
The job now is to actually make this fund a lot bigger. And that's how we get to 10,000 homes. What we've been doing is saying, if we start on the journey and have a down payment of $100 million, can we now bring in other lenders? Can we borrow money?
Right.
With our $100 million base.
Like 20% down.
Like that. It'd be nice if that was the 20%. That means we'll be at $1 billion. But it means that now we want to bring in other funders to help catalyze what we're saying is a big challenge for Oregon in middle income housing. And we went out listening for more than a year all around the state. And what we saw was the need to go beyond our focus in affordable housing and shelter, which is where we've spent the last decade really leaning in, helping the state, to this next level, which has got our economy stuck, which is the next level of starter homes, like the one I grew up in Beaverton, which is for families who are getting started, who are part of the workforce, but they're not really qualifying for affordable housing, and they're not able to buy at the market. And this, what we see all through the state, that's what's not being built. And so we are going to make loans to builders. And this is really an initiative to say to builders and developers, we need this tranche of housing, and we're willing to take the first step and bring other banks in with us so we can get these things built. Our thesis is, I know you love that word.
Yes, it's a great word.
Our thesis is that we think that there are a lot of projects that are stuck, but for financing. So we're gonna go work with those builders who've got site control, who have done the work with their counties and their cities, in small towns, in rural areas, and who are ready to build. And their problem has been that the money's not there and the money's too expensive. Our builder out in Eastern Oregon talked to us about, he borrows from a friend who runs a car place, a car sales force, and he has to borrow at 18%. And we think we can make debt available closer to 5.
Wow. And
we think that's the spur that the market needs to build this 10,000 homes over the next decade. So we're taking a slice of what's, we think, holding back economic progress. And you said it, Ryan, it's really nice to be a $4.5 billion private institution, because we can take a move and we can be a little more flexible. We don't have to re-tinker a state program or a federal program. We can say, we're gonna get to you in Astoria and Reedsport and Coos Bay and way out in Eastern Oregon. And here in Portland too, there's creative builders who are doing infill, who are doing it in powerful ways that are net zero. You know, so we think that's our sweet spot.
Well, I so appreciate that, because I admit this on almost every video, but I'm very impatient. I'm an entrepreneur.
Impatience is good.
Yes,
it's good to have that.
And I think a lot of my entrepreneur friends are just like, I cannot wait any longer to make traction on this housing problem that we've had for decades. I just built a fourplex. It took 6 years to get the permits to do this.
Oh my God.
It's so
no
painful.
Wonder you're impatient.
So anyway, deep breaths.
Deep breaths.
But the financing thing is a big deal. I do want to get to, I'm very Portland centric, I mean metro area. And one of the beautiful things about OCF is you're very statewide. You have a rural background from the Obama administration, which is, you know, unusual for I'm around a lot of urban people all the time. So I guess one thing how can Portland learn from OCF in terms of, like, I just feel like the radical path is the middle way instead of far left or far right, and I feel like OCF strikes that middle way. How can Portland learn from that to be more moderate in getting things done?
Well, in my experience, the middle is where we get things done, and there's nothing more obvious than tackling housing. You can be from any political party and you want to tackle this problem. And what I think Portland residents and givers will see is us working in all 36 counties, and they're going to see it's kind of more visible in rural areas. You know, 20 homes in a small town pops, and it starts to eat away at this narrative that no one cares, you know, and we'll do it pretty quickly because we're at the construction end. So when you work with builders, we're going to work with those who've already got the permits. Or
right. They're ready, and it's just
ready,
the financing that's holding them back.
So people are going to see some change, and they're going to see it in 2 and 3 and 5 years, and they're going to be able to see their kids get a place, and they're going to be able to see workers who've come in to staff the hospitals or to teach. They're going to see them get residences, and I think that's the positive spin. We need some stories that are positive, and so impatience is a good thing, and it is something that is, in sitting in a private seat, we can help with. The speed of this we can help with, and I think the lessons are going to be there for all of us. I did have the privilege of being the Undersecretary of Rural Development. It meant I ran the largest rural housing portfolio. You know, it's over $200 billion of portfolio across the country that's been built for rural America. I'd like to see federal partnerships with us, but sometimes you need somebody to go first and to start helping, and there are other folks that can help. So I think what we're looking at, the Building Hope, is kind of tucked in the name. I think hope springs from actual change, things that have happened, tangible, real tangible change, and we're looking forward to building some change here.
Awesome. So last thing as we wrap up is scope out and personal. You're back in Portland. On the personal front, what are you most excited about that's happening in all of Oregon, but in Portland?
Well, I'll be personal. I grew up in Beaverton, and at the time it was racially restricted, and our real estate agent sold my mixed race folks. My dad was from Ghana, my mom's from Oregon, Iowa, and they sold us our house. So we were biracial Black kids growing up in Beaverton, and I love my community, and I felt loved. I felt like everybody went to the airport and sent me off with scholarships to go to college. But I was very, very different. I was the kid that people pointed at in the store. And I've returned to a much more diverse Portland, much more diverse Oregon. I think it's hysterical that my husband, who's African-American, gets his haircut in Beaverton at an African-American barbershop. And
times have changed.
Times have changed, and it's good changes. I feel we're at a new level. This has been a tough season. I came right as the pandemic. We were crawling out of the pandemic and going back to our offices in 2022. And I do feel hope. I feel like we've still got the big innovators who take from our West Coast heritage the impatience to change things in our lifetimes. And I feel the community that still is kind and wants to get things done. And I couldn't be happier to be in a place that is receptive to new ideas. We'll just give it a shot. And I think things are more fixable than there are a lot of serious problems here. And but we're also not millions and millions and millions of people. We're 4 million people in the state. We are a state that I think wants to change for the better, and that makes me really happy to have come back.
That's amazing. Well, I need to end on one compliment to you, which is, well, it's twofold. One, obviously hope was Obama's big campaign promise.
Guilty.
But this is a compliment. Hope is, in the business world, you can have hope, but hope is not a strategy. But you have a strategy, and you get things done, and you get things done when most people don't even, you don't look for credit. What you did with what we were doing with Rip City Forever to keep the Blazers here and keep them thriving, just kind of like the behind the scenes of just stepping in when so many others who could step in didn't. It's just, it's a testament to your leadership, and so we're blessed to have you. So thank you. Yes.
It's good to have some hope and some money.
Yeah.
So appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.